Sono sul classico tuk-tuk indiano e sono a Mumbai, che è il cuore pulsante di Bollywood. Qui infatti vivono tutti gli attori più famosi indiani, ma ce n'è uno in particolare che è carissimo a tutti noi italiani. E io sto andando a incontrarlo. Kabir, che emozione incontrarti dal vivo e... Kabir, non mi sono mai perso un episodio di Sandokan, te lo giuro. Kabir, mia madre è innamorata di te, mia nonna pure, io pure. No, Kabir, io da piccolo a carnevale mi vestivo da Sandokan. Kabir, all'Isola dei Famosi dovevi vincere tu, non c'è storia. Chi se non Sandokan doveva vincere l'Isola dei Famosi? Per forza. Che bella giacca. Lino?
Hi guys.
Hi.
Nice to meet you. Very nice to meet you.
Hi.
Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
So what's happening to you, my darling? And this is me. This is me.
Yeah.
What makes you happy? My wife's kisses.
He's taller than what I was expecting, so I have to
Yeah,
fix
he
it.
would be. Every camera shot, every frame, they always
Wow,
say that.
he's
Wow! All set? Done? We start, eh?
Yeah.
Okay?
All right. So, what do I call you?
Giuseppe.
Giuseppe. Okay.
Yeah, Giuseppe. He's the only Indian who can spell my name in the correct way. Yeah. Everyone is calling me Giuseppe or something like this, but I appreciate he can say it. Kabir, you cannot even imagine how I feel now because you remind me, you bring me back to my, to when I was a child. Because when I was 6, I think I remember it very, very vividly. I was 6 on the couch with all my family under the blanket because it was like winter,
Yeah.
and we were watching
January,
right?
76,
You see,
yeah.
We were watching all together Sandokan, and
Right.
of course when the jingle started, everyone were singing it.
Your presence here reminds me of all that I've received from Italy. So, there is a reciprocal memory being triggered here.
You are a legend over there. You are the man behind the legend
Thank you.
of Sandokan,
Thank
and
you.
it's a real pleasure. It's a real pleasure to be here.
Italy gave me the opportunity to do that, to be that, So, I owe Italy a lot.
What were you before becoming Sandokan?
I was an actor.
Okay.
I was working in Bollywood. Before that, I had spent 5 years in advertising. And before that, I worked for a year in terms of the government, and freelancing with radio and the early days of television. So it was radio, television, advertising, 5 years, then acting professionally. And I'd been acting for about 3-4 years. And the Italians came into town looking for Sandokan. But they were looking all over Asia, not just in Bombay.
Yeah.
And eventually, long story, I got auditioned in Rome and got the role.
Wow. I read that you paid your ticket to go to Rome.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Well, it's a question of recognizing opportunity. When they say, will you pay your ticket, I can say, wait a minute, I'm an established actor here, how dare you? Or I can say, no, this could be a gateway to something very big. And you go with the flow. So recognizing opportunity is very important.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I did not make an ego issue out of it. I did make an ego issue out of the hotel room they gave me in Rome, which was a very bad hotel. I said, I would not stay here. That would be a nice hotel.
And then you got the part.
And then, yes, I had to audition with makeup tests and horse riding and swimming and dramatic scenes and action scenes. And eventually I got the role.
Yeah, but speaking with the Indians, here too you are huge. Everyone knows you, but you have always acted as the bad guy in the Indian movies.
In the later years, yes. I began as a leading man. I began as a thing. And then as time passed, in between I did a very important film, my most successful film, where I began as the hero and he turns into the villain.
Okay.
So it's the least expected. It's a big surprise. And that then led to my getting a lot of negative roles in India, which I don't mind because negative roles are very interesting roles for actors to play.
Maybe the most difficult one.
Also the most enjoyable,
Yeah.
because being good is can be boring. You get sympathy because you're doing all the right things, but the bad guy is the one who's unpredictable. You don't know what he's going to do. So there's always a thing that makes him fascinating. And if you play him well, at times he's more interesting than the hero.
Wow. I didn't think about it.
Yeah.
So you enjoyed a lot when you were acting in the 007 musical.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. To be part of a Bond franchise is very special, because the Bond franchise is the most successful, or at least the oldest franchise in the world, film franchise. It has millions of people all over the world that just love James Bond and his films. And the minute you get any role of any importance in a Bond film, these people write to you from all over the world. They want you to come to their conventions, they want to come to their clubs, they want to come to their events. And you're plugged into a whole universe of Bond fans, So it's special being in a Bond film.
What is the craziest thing a fan of you made to meet you or to impress you?
Oh, there've been a few. But there was one that would write to me and accuse me of following around London in a Rolls Royce. There was another one that would keep turning up at various places unexpectedly and looking very threatening, but when I'd speak to her, she'd become very calm. And she turned up at the set of the Bond film, and then I said, just stay there. She said, you thought you'd get rid of me, did you? I no, just stay 1 minute, and you go call the security, and then she goes away. Then I came back to Bombay. I was staying at that time in a Taj Mahal hotel. I went to get my room key, and the man said, oh, there's a lady asking for you. I said, who? He said, that lady. I said, some lady walking back. So I said, excuse me. And she turns around, horror film, it's the same lady. You thought you'd get away from me. No, I didn't. But yeah, there have been a few crazy ones. I mean, there are bound to be. There's bound to be. When you have that level of success, even the crazies love you.
Mm-hmm. I bet. Do you remember the moment where you understood that you made it?
I had no idea how big the series was when it started in Rome. Because in those days, remember, there was no mail, email, there was no, even telephoning was a problem. You had to book a call and they'd call you back 4 hours later. And the people I was trying to call, my agent in Rome refused to answer my calls. My producer was unreachable, director was unreachable. So I thought this film probably didn't do well. Then one journalist called me and said, Kabir, you must come to Rome, your film is doing well. I said, really? He said, yeah, you must come. So I decided I'd go. So I arrived in Rome, and there was all this paparazzi at the foot of the plane. Banks them, and they're photographing, and I thought, who are they photographing? Look behind to see. And then my girlfriend who was with me at that time, Parveen Babi, a very well-known Indian actress, she nudged me in the ribs and said, they're for you. And that's the moment I understood that Sandokan had this huge success. And after everything that followed after that, from the crowds at the airport, to the crowds at the hotel, to the crowds in the streets, everywhere, being mobbed, the message got to me. It's a successful series, and you are Sandokan.
And Sandokan for you, for your career, was the most important milestone, or?
I would say yes. It changed everything for me.
Yeah.
It gave me the opportunity of moving beyond Bollywood. It gave me the opportunity of going to the West, of not just having a career in Italy, but also going on to Hollywood and building a career out there. So it opened many doors for me and changed my life completely in terms of the possibilities that were there for me. And I would say it's the most important event in my life.
You are a huge actor. You are a very famous actor, made lots of movies. But reading the story of your parents,
Yeah.
it seems to me another big movie. they seem to be the main actors of amazing adventurous movie.
Yeah.
Which was your relationship with them?
It was a wonderful relationship, although very unusual, because my father and mother met in Oxford. It was the first marriage between an Indian student and an English girl, and my mother went on to become the highest-ranked Tibetan Buddhist nun in the world.
The first
And
Western,
the first Western woman to reach that level and to take the ordination. She was also a freedom fighter. We worked with Gandhi. She was Florence Nightingale to the Tibetan refugees, changed their lives. My father was this communist who later in life discovered his spirituality, became a great guru, had a highly original philosophy. And yet through it all, there was this sense of, they were my parents. Felt completely natural to me. Other people might see them differently. To me, they were my parents, and they gave me all the love in the world. And that sense of caring never stopped, even when my mother became a nun. Even when my father went to Italy. So the memories that I have of them are really beautiful memories, because they were extraordinary people, beautiful people who gave their lives to make the world a better place, to fight for India's independence, to fight for the dispossessed, to fight for the hungry, social justice. These things are something which is part of my heritage, part of my DNA, thanks to them. So I have a lot to be grateful for in the parents that I had.
Have you ever thought to make a movie on one of them?
Absolutely. I certainly want to make a movie on my mother. It's in process. Absolutely. Because that story needs to be told.
When I read it, I said, it's incredible how there is no movie yet.
No, because it spans virtually the history of the 20th century. From the First World War, where my mother's father was killed, to Oxford and racism in the 30s, to Berlin, where they went on the rise of Hitler, to coming to India, joining Mahatma Gandhi and the freedom struggle in India, and being part of that movement, to being part of what was happening in Kashmir at a time when India and Pakistan started fighting over it, to the uprising in Tibet that brought the Dalai Lama into India, along with hundreds of thousands of Tibetan refugees, and all the work my mother did for them, and discover Buddhism and become a nun. And then she traveled internationally to spread Buddhism. So literally the history of the last century is contained in their lives in some very important dimensions. So it is a movie of epic scale. It's like, Zhivago and the Russian Revolution. This is Frida and Baba Bedi and the Indian freedom struggle.
Well, I hope that you're doing it very, very soon, because I would love to watch it.
I'm working together with some very important people to get it together.
Great. You are one of the few actors, one of the few big actors that have never done an autobiography. I would like to know why.
Let me put it on the record that I am doing my autobiography, writing it right now.
Okay.
I, for many years, was conflicted about writing an autobiography because there's questions, ethical questions I couldn't get over. Do I really tell the truth about everything? Do I affect the lives of other people? How can I do this? How should I tell it? Should I tell it from the beginning to the end? Should I go flashbacks? I couldn't resolve, one, whether to write an autobiography, how to write it, how to structure it, and for whom I was writing it. Eventually I resolved all these questions. And now I'm writing my autobiography. Hopefully it'll be done by next year.
Wow, in this interview there will be two new things for everyone. Wow,
Right.
amazing. Kabir, I'm very excited to have you here beside me, not only to listen to your stories just directly, but also because it's an honor, it's a pleasure to me to involve you in my project.
Right.
Now it's 2 months that I'm traveling around the world to meet iconic people, tribes, women and men with extraordinary stories, and learn from them the ingredient they can give me to be happier. So at the end of this journey, I want to put all these ingredients together and make my universal formula of happiness. Let's see if I can.
Okay.
So now for you, I have 10 questions about happiness.
All right.
Okay, ready?
Right.
First question. What is something small that always makes you smile?
A beautifully fried egg
Oh, yeah.
on hot buttered toast.
Really?
Yeah. I can have it all day, every day of the year.
Wow, this is something that always makes you smile. Nice, nice. Your life is easy. Only one egg, one fried egg, that's it.
It's very
Happy.
true. Anything can happen in the day. As long as he has his Fridays in the morning, it's the best day ever.
Great.
He's
Great.
happy.
2 fried eggs.
Ah, two.
2 fried
Yeah,
eggs.
yeah,
Oh.
very important.
2 fried eggs on hot buttered toast is what makes me happy all day.
What is the first thought when you wake up?
I love news and current affairs and to know what's political happenings around the world, in my country, the problem. So the first thought that strikes me when I wake up in the morning is I wonder what's in the newspapers.
What do you think are the 3 most beautiful things in the world?
Acts of kindness. And you know, there can be random acts of kindness. Kindness towards people who can never ever repay you.
This is the first one.
Yeah. Walking through the city center of Rome, I'm a student of history, so I see this as all of Rome's incredible history, the rise and fall of empires, the city of Julius Caesar, and Nero, and Caligula, and all these amazing people. And the stones speak to me. So that's the second most beautiful thing in the world to me. And then the smell of monsoon rain falling on dry, powdered earth. It is the most satisfying smell in the world. And it reminds me of nature's abundance, of its giving, of its life force. But the smell is just divine. I think that's one of the most beautiful things in the world.
What are you most scared of?
I'm scared of not completing the film on my mother's life. I'm scared of not completing my autobiography. And I'm scared of my wife when she's angry.
Oh, he's lying! That's not true.
What does dying mean to you?
Dying means the passing of my physical form. It means returning to the ethers from which I came. It means a continuation of my consciousness as part of the collective unconscious of mankind.
Do you believe in any religion right now?
I believe in the best in all religions. I'm part of the Indian family of religions is really what constitutes my core beliefs. Sikhism, because I'm a descendant of Guru Baba Nanak, founder of the Sikh religion. Buddhism, because my mother was Buddhist, and I was Buddhist for many years. I even became a Buddhist monk for many months. And Hinduism, because it is such a vast, all-embracing philosophy, and it is the ethos in which I grew up. So those are the religions that influenced me the most. But what I believe is what I've taken from each religion, what resonates for me.
What is the perfume of happiness for you?
I think if I was to associate a perfume with happiness, it would be the night flowering jasmine that you get in India. It's an extremely beautiful smell.
If you can give to yourself one and only advice 30 years ago,
30 years ago?
yes,
Okay.
what would you tell him?
I would say, don't waste time. Don't get distracted by unimportant things. work every day towards the realization of your dreams, because time is all you have.
How did you lose time at that time?
A lot of things distracted me. I allowed myself to be distracted by pleasures, relationships, entertainment. When you're young, you think you live forever. So you think you've got all the time in the world to do everything. And you think, I'll get round to that later. But that you keep putting that off, and you realize at a certain point this later is getting more and more condensed. And you need time to achieve things. You need anything of worth needs a certain perseverance behind it. And many things I left undone or half finished even because I didn't persevere. So don't waste time is the most important advice I can give anybody, and to myself 30 years ago.
Great, great. I'll take it. Last question, the most important for me and for my project. What is the recipe of happiness for Kabir Bedi?
Personally, happiness has to be within. If you're not happy with yourself, you'll not be happy with anybody. Companionship is all important. Having the right companion in life so you can share things with. And then spiritually, it is doing good for other people, making the world a better place, helping the people less fortunate than you. That's the essence of happiness. Be happy, share happiness, give happiness.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
It was a real honor, a real pleasure. I hope that,
No, Giuseppe, it's been wonderful chatting to you.
I didn't say nothing to my mother. She was in love, she's in love with you. My grandmother too, my sister were in love with you.
Right.
So they don't know I'm interviewing you. So I hope that when they'll see, they are not gonna faint. So hopefully they are gonna
Give them my love. Tell them I thank them for all that they have given me. Even if I've not seen them, I've received their love.
Hai sentito mamma? Ok.
Sono molto felice e molto grato per tutto quello che ho ricevuto in Italia e da voi.
Mi sa che è già avvenuta. Adesso che l'hai detto in italiano mi sa che l'abbiamo persa. Dan!
Thank
really
you.
nice.
Now we can have a coffee.